guys, welcome back to my channel. And it is Slobbering Sunday, and I know you're thinking, where are the dogs, Danielle? You're not a cute puppy dog that sleeps on your couch. Where are the dogs? So today is Slobbering Sunday, and today is going to be a different kind of Slobbering Sunday. Today I'm actually going to talk about something that I read up on that does pertain to the dogs, but there will be no dogs around when I talk about this. So Slobbering Sunday today was actually supposed to be a different video, and I'm still working on that video, so we're not really going to talk about it because I want you guys to see it and like it, not just hear about it and be like, oh, I've been expecting this one all week. But we'll talk about that one when you actually see it. So for today, I was doing research this past week for that video, and with that research came a lot of articles about dogs that you don't want to read. You don't want to see these stories. And when I came across them, it just hurt. It hurt my heart to read them and to think that people think this way about dogs, and especially the dogs or the type of breeds that I have. So I was doing my research and I came across an article about a little girl that got mauled and was kicked out of KFC because she was mauled by 3 pit bulls. And they were going on and on about, this little girl and how, KFC didn't know why her face was deformed like it was, and they never made a big deal about that in the news, that she was mauled by 3 pit bulls, but they made a big deal that KFC kicked her out. Maybe they should have made a big deal about the 3 dogs. And so that's where this whole thing sparked, because in that story they linked another story about how to the best way to put it is how to prevent these dogs to be aggressive. And the best thing that they could think of is to sterilize all pit bulls and Rottweilers and any aggressive breeds. The only breed that they weren't like pushing for was German Shepherds, because German Shepherds actually can be trained and work in like the police force. That's what they are trained for. They can be trained to do that. So they weren't pushing for that one, but for like Rottweilers and pit bulls and those kind of dogs, they were pushing to have them sterilized. And what that initially means, and you have to think like long term here, if they were to sterilize all the pit bulls right now today, all the pit bulls and pit bull mixes and everything, just sterilize them, that would mean in a couple years, once these younger generations of pit bulls grow up, and remember they're all sterilized so they can't have puppies, we are then going to make this breed extinct for at least this area, for the United States. They would be extinct, because if you sterilize them all, they can't reproduce and make more. So we would be to no pit bulls, no Rottweilers, because they are an aggressive breed, and this is what they figured would be a good idea. And that to me is alarming, because their whole thought process behind this is, well, if we sterilize them, no more would be around and we wouldn't have this aggressive breed. Because even if they're a good dog, even if they've never had a problem, even if they've never bit anyone or they've never shown any aggressive bone in their body, they still have that aggressive DNA in their body. They still carry that aggressive trait. And it bothers me because, as you guys have seen from my 2 dogs, my Brindle and Coco, who are both pits, and Brindle is a pit lab and Coco is a pit Rottweiler, so she's 2 of the dogs that they want to, make extinct. Like, that is not them at all. They are not aggressive whatsoever. They will bark, but what dog doesn't bark? They will growl, what dog doesn't growl? But they will never hurt anyone. Brindle, the most she will do is lick you to death. That's it. Like, my dogs are not going to hurt, but you want to make it that I can't get another one like Brindle. I can't get another one like Cow because you think they're aggressive, because in their blood is this aggressive DNA. But it bothers me because they're thinking about this for a dog, but do we do that to people that are born to murderers? Do we do that to people that are born to pedophiles? Do we sterilize them because they carry the gene of their parent that could lead them to be a pedophile, that could lead them to be a murderer? No, we don't, because they have that trait, but we give them the chance to show that that's not them. They are not who their parent is. And I know this is like humans to dogs is so different because, we can't control a dog because we can't understand what they're thinking, but I have a solution to this. Instead of sterilizing all these poor innocent dogs, and I'm not saying that having a dog spayed or neutered isn't a good thing, it is to a certain extent. But for me, my 2 dogs, Brindle and Coco, aren't spayed. They're not neutered, they're not anything. The reason being is we don't believe in that, and we never did. And Dixie is spayed because where we got her from, they actually spayed them. That was part of their, like, that was the only way you could adopt them, is if they spayed them, because they don't want this dog to have puppies and come back and have more puppies. They don't want that. So for 2 of our dogs, they're not spayed because we don't believe in that. We don't believe that they should have to go through that, and I don't think it's something that my dogs need. Now, if in due time it's something we, you know, like, yeah, let's go do this, we'll go do it. But guess what? Right at this time, no, I don't believe in it. I don't think my dog needs to go through it. That pain, that transition, because that can also scar them. It can really scar them. So no, I'm good. I'll leave my dogs the way they are. They're intact. Great. They're not going to go have puppies. I've had Brindle almost 4 years. Well, I've had her for 3 years, and we haven't had a puppy yet. So we're good. Like, we're good. But I have a solution to all this. Instead of sterilizing them and, you know, making it where they become an extinct breed, why don't we train people that are adopting these dogs? Why don't we train people that are looking at getting an aggressive dog or an aggressive breed and teach them, you know, the triggers, and teach them how to handle a dog like this, and, you know, work with a dog like this, and how to love them, and, you know, all this stuff. Because why are we just punishing a poor, innocent animal who could be something when we don't have to? Why don't we teach these people and educate these people on the type of dogs that they are buying, the types of dogs that they are interested in? And okay, if you have small children, these are things you want to do. If you have small animals, this is what you want to do. Why not do that? Why don't we do training? Why don't we, at these shelters where these dogs are at, and I mean around us, a lot of shelters have pit bulls, I'm not gonna lie, and we've seen some really aggressive ones. I mean, we were in a shelter before we got Dixie, and there was a dog. His name was Bronk. He looked like a giant sweetheart. You get him in the room and he was nipping at our hands, and he was like gnawing on the door, and it's like, okay, if we get this dog, this is what we're gonna have to do. First, we're gonna have to train him that we do not allow nipping in our house, okay? But because this is his mentality, you know, how are we gonna do that in a positive light? So this is stuff that we're thinking about before we're getting a dog. But not many people think like this. Not many people think, you know, long term of, okay, so I'm getting this dog, this is its personality now, this is its traits now. How can I take these traits, the ones we don't really like, the ones like the nipping and the biting at the door, and how can I train him in a positive way to get to here where, you know, he's this couch potato that loves you and wants to cuddle with you? Because at the end of the day, the dog just wants to be loved. When he was just being loved and not nipping at you and none of that, he was the sweetest dog you will ever meet. Laid at your feet, and if you pet him, he'd lay on his back, and he was just the sweetest dog you will ever meet. But besides those sweet traits, he had a couple traits that were like, okay, if we get him, these are things we're gonna have to work on. And, you know, we were talking to the lady for the adoption, and she's like, yeah, well, he doesn't really do good with other dogs. He's a one kind of dog, and, you know, I do see you have a small child. He might not, he looks to be okay right now, but he might not handle if he starts screaming. Joey doesn't scream, but, you know, he'll play loud. So I'm like, okay, maybe not a good idea. Maybe not a good idea. So we didn't get him, and then we kept looking, and then not really looking, and found Dixie. But anyways, why don't we train and educate these people? So when you go to a shelter or a rescue and these people are trying to adopt a dog out to you, why not have the dog and the person go through a training class before the dog can go home? So you learn the quirks about this dog. You learn, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly about the dog. Kind of like a relationship. Like, you go in dating somebody. You don't just go, you look good, let's get married. You don't do that. You learn about that person. So you gotta learn about this dog you're gonna take home. Like, if you're getting a puppy, okay, so you take it to training classes. Most people do. We did not, because we've already had dogs, so we know how to train them. But go through training. Learn about the dog. If you don't have a dog yet, research the dog. Research what you're looking for. Are you looking for a big dog? Are you looking for a small dog? Are you looking for, you know, what are you looking for? Are you looking for, you know, a family pet? Are you looking for one that is going to have its person and that's it? Like, do your research, and then let's train people. Let's train people to handle dogs. Let's train them to handle the aggressive breeds, because I feel like if more people were trained and knew more about the dogs that they were adopting or getting or taking in, that these aggressive dogs that have this aggressiveness in their blood wouldn't be aggressive. You see my dogs day in and day out in every vlog that I have. They're not aggressive. I know my dogs. I'm not gonna lie. When we adopted Brindle and we were told she was a pit lab mix, I went on this many day research of everything. Okay, best training for them. How do they learn? What's their best trait? What's their worst trait? What is most of their triggers? How do you prevent these triggers? Best way to train them in the crate. Best way to train them not to chew up stuff. Brindle has never chewed up the only one time she ever chewed up our like furniture was we had her crate right next to the couch. The couch was like dead up against it. She rubbed up against it, didn't like the feel of it, and bit the couch. That was it. Since then has never bit, sneezed, licked anything the couch. Like, does not do anything with the couch. She'll lay on it, that's it. Never had another problem. I did all that research. It's just like having a kid. You don't just go buy a car seat because it looks great and you're like, okay. You do research on it. You learn about it. When you're having a kid, most people read books on how to be a parent because you have no idea how to be a parent beforehand. They don't come with a manual. If they did, a lot of people would be amazing parents because they could just read the manual and be like, okay, so when it cries like this, it's hungry. Oh, when it screams bloody murder, it has a poopy diaper. I got it. We can do this. So research your dogs. Get trained if you can. I think training people to handle these dogs is going to be a lot better than just sterilizing these animals. They're poor, defenseless animals. Yes, they have a trait that they could be aggressive, but with the proper training, love, and the proper knowledge of their parents, which would be you, they can be really good dogs. They can be the best dogs you will ever see. My dogs are the best. They are great protectors, but they are not vicious protectors. They are love bugs, they are cuddlers, and they're like my children. I'm not gonna lie. So, research the type of breed you are getting. Research training, and if there's training nearby. Research everything you can before you go and get a dog, and take any training classes you can. I know that these could cost hundreds of dollars, but at the end of the day, you being successful with your dog and training your dog and helping your dog and loving your dog is going to make your relationship not only stronger, but it's going to make your confidence in your dog and your ability to take care of and teach and nourish that dog 100% better. Do not be one of these closed-minded people that just says, let's sterilize a breed because in their blood they could be aggressive. In their blood they could be mean and vicious, because that's just wrong. I'm done with my rant. I hope you guys like this Slobbering Sunday video. I would love to hear your opinions down below. What is your suggestion instead of sterilizing this breed of dog? You know, if you've had a bad experience, what type of dog was it, and you know, has it scarred you? What do you think, and what would you do differently? I'm very curious to hear everyone's opinions, because this is a topic that I'm very much a part of because of my dogs. But I'm done rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If not, please let me know down below why not. I will see you guys again soon for another video. Bye guys.